Hello and welcome to FanCookingTastic. Today's episode we're going to cook an amazing meal. Won't take too long, but there'll be a lot of happy tummies by the time we're done. For the potato onion dish, we're going to need 4 peeled potatoes, 1 onion, a good amount of butter, about 2/3 of a cup. Lastly, we're going to need about 2 cups of moo. To make our fish sauce gravy, 1/4 cup of butter, 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour, and another 2 cups of moo juice, the famous table twins, some salt and pepper, garlic powder, not garlic salt, garlic powder. And lastly, if you've got it, grow it, a little bit of chives. For the main event, we're going to need fish, and that'll be a nice piece of salmon. More butter, about 3/4 of a cup we're going to need. From your cupboard store of favorites, a little bit of salmon spice. Hello everyone, I'm Paul and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to cook something, as I said, it's by the sea day today. It's Friday today, so Friday means fish in a lot of places. And today we're going to be cooking up a beautiful salmon. This is a rather big piece of salmon. We lucked out at the store. Normally they're a lot smaller. Price of salmon these days is through the roof. So when it's on sale, what do? We buy it. And so today we're going to do a baked salmon. We're going to also make a potato and onion dish in a pan, sort of like a scalloped potato, but in a pan with a creamy sauce, as well as a sauce for the fish. Now today's theme is butter. Butter. This is where we might cut away to a little fantasy escapade about butter sticks. But nonetheless, we're going to use butter for our dish. Today's theme is butter. Did I say that already? I did. So we're going to begin with a couple of things because the fish is going to need time to cook. The potatoes will need time to cook. And then the sauce is relatively easy to do. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to get the fish prepared. Now we're going to get a dish. We're going to need one of these very large glass dishes. I think they call it, was it 9? Oh, here we go. It's written inside. 9 by 13 for you folks in the imperial measure. 22 by 33 centimeters for those metric folks. And while we're getting this ready, we're going to get our oven ready at the magic cooking number of 350 degrees. 350 degrees. You can cook pretty much anything and everything at 350 degrees. So we're going to put our oven on to 350, which is already pre-programmed to bake and start. It's a gas oven, so it takes a little bit of time to get rolling. Okay, so that's that. So now we're back. The oven is rolling, and we're going to prepare our dish now, the fish dish. Ooh, that's a good rhyme. So the fish dish. First, I need a little knife because we're going to be working with our butter. Now, it's just sort of the end of the butter. It's the last little bit of the butter. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually grease the pan. Because this is glass, it's likely going to stick. And so what we do is we just smush that butter into the pan and rub it all over the bottom, wherever that fish is going to sit, because we don't want it sticking. Now, I cook it with the skin on. I'm one of the few, probably the only one in the household that likes to eat the fish skin. It's not for everybody, but that's okay. There's a lot of nutrients in there, and if you like it, it crisps up real nice here in this dish. Other times I'll do it in a pan, and that gets really crispy, of course, and there's nothing better than tasty, buttery, crispy fish skin. Pardon me while I salivate all over the butter. So I've got a nice greased dish. As we can see, the ceiling cam and the side cam. Nice greasy, buttery dish with greasy, buttery hands, but that's okay. We're going to put that fish right in there. Fits perfectly, huh? And we're going to rub any of this extra butter over the top of the skin. Now I did say, didn't I, today's theme of the day is butter. So that means we keep carving little sticks, but they're going to go up on top of the fish so that as this cooks, butter, because this is salmon, has all kinds of little, in fact, I'm going to give it some help in a minute, has all kinds of little permutations inside. It's one of the fattier fish, so it's got fish running, or fish running through it. Of course it does. It's a fish. Fat is what I meant to say. All these little white lines. Let's go for the close-up cam. All these little white lines in here are fish fat. Now, it's a good fat, though. Don't be alarmed. You can eat it. It's not like saturated fats that you might find in beef. This is rich with the fish oils, the essential nutrients required for your brain. They call it brain food for a reason. I'm just going to rinse that off. Now, we're not done yet, just yet, because I just used the butter for our... There's a good mistake. I just used the butter we had saved for our onion dish on the fish. So now I'm going to use the fish's butter in the potato and onion dish. Anyway, the top of the show, one of the ingredients I said was to find from your cupboard store this shaky, what do they call this? Salt-free. That's a good thing because we're going to probably put salt on it later. Salmon spice. Whew. Don't know what's in it. It says no artificial colors or flavors and no MSG. Whew. So for those of you who are looking for MSG, this will not do the trick. And we're just going to spread this on, just a little shake everywhere. Nothing too crazy. Something I didn't put on the ingredient list today, but friends of our very, very good friends of mine, for my recent birthday, got me some Cristals de Sal Marina Pimenton Ahumado, also known as pimento-infused salt flakes. And so if we get a, here ceiling cam. Yeah, maybe this cam's better. I don't know. We need one of those close-up ones. Ask and ye shall receive. Anyway, we take a bit of this and we just sort of crunch it in your fingers and spread it all over. It has a little bit of spice to it, but it's smoked. It's smoked paprika, or paprika if you're in England. That's going to give it a bit of flavor. This fish is ready, but not quite yet to go in the oven. The oven's still preheating. Preheating is usually something you want to have if you're doing baking, of course, but it also helps when you're doing a fish like this so it doesn't cook too fast on the outside. So while we're doing that, let's just get it over to the oven, ready to go in. Okay, so while we're doing that, it's waiting for the oven. We're going to get ready for our potato dish. It takes a little bit of preparation. So we're going to use our wonderful pan. This is an amazing pan. Got this for Christmas. It is a non-stick pan with a really neat coating inside. You can see that up top. It's super easy to clean. You'd be amazed at how freaking easy it is. Whoa, we almost lost the lid. There you go. Proof of my reflexes. Okay, so we need a cutting board. Maybe if I don't talk so much, pay attention to what the hell I'm doing, we won't be smashing dishes around. Okay, so this is a layered dish. We're going to go butter, potato, onion. Butter, potato, onion. And then we're going to pour milk all over top, about 2 cups worth. So first, we take our little butter thingy here. And this isn't where you don't cover the whole pan. You're just putting some down. It's ultimately going to melt all over the place. Because this is a non-stick pan, it'll be a little forgiving. So we're just going to put some butter in the bottom. Real nice. Because this won't really grease either, I don't think. Let's try. Ooh, what do you know? It does. Ooh. And that was the beep for the oven. So you know what? We're going to grease the bottom of our frying pan. That's something new. Because we're going to layer our potatoes in here. So grease that up real nice. Leave a bunch of butter in there. Because the potatoes are going to sit. Yeah, that's good. Whoa, real messy. Okay, time to wash the butter off the hands. Oh, yes. Because then I'll really be dumping dishes around, won't I? I'll really be destroying everything if I have Butterfingers. Okay, so while we're here, we have our fish. The oven's ready. We're going to go ahead and put the fish right in the oven to bake it up real nicely. Just give that a little bit of a spin around so that it cooks evenly, and then close it up. That's going to bake for easily half an hour, and then we're going to check it. Okay, back to our potato dish. We are going to do our layers. So first, we take one of our potatoes. Oh, there's a nasty little thing in this one. Pull out all the ugly things. Handy dandy green bin. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're not going to cut them slice-wise. That's a little too much. We're going to cut them lengthwise. And the reason is it takes up more surface area. Now we're not going too thick either. We're not going too thin. So I think we're going there. Okay. So what we do, we just cut a whole bunch of these crazy things and pull out any icky bits. Sometimes these potatoes, you know, if you could really grow your own, I think that would be really good, wouldn't it? They get these funny things inside that you have to cut out once in a while. Okay, and then all you do is you just keep cutting your slices and lay them out inside the pan on top of the butter. It's all okay. Now I'm not going to do too many potatoes, but you gauge this depending on how many people you're serving. Usually about a potato a person, and the thickness of the potatoes make a difference too, yeah? No gadgets. We don't have any gadgets in this episode, I just realized. I don't think so. We'll have to see. I'll have to dig out. So just keep going, keep layering. I hope you can see. Hope I'm not in the way. Okay, we got a layer of potatoes. We got 2 more potatoes to work with, which is fine. So there's our layer. Now, of course, we need our onion. Oh, I know what we need for our gadget. Gadgets. You know what we need. I know you know what we need. Our handy dandy onion glasses. Because I don't want to start crying like a baby on camera. Okay, there, now I'm protected. Of course, I took my glasses off. I can't see a ruddy thing. So for all I know, I could be hacking my hand off. I'll let you know. Don't you worry. Okay, this, unlike pizza, we're going to leave the onion intact. We're going to cut it against the circles. We need all these little circles. We're not going to split them up. We're not going to, well, we might actually, because sometimes this can be a little intense if the onions remain completely intact. So at the very least, just sort of do half. Do half here, half over there, half here, half over there, and just keep going around the circle. It's kind of like you're building a pizza in the pan, isn't it? There's our potatoes. We're going to save the other half because now we got to layer up some more potatoes. Oh, I know what you're saying. You said, wait a minute, this is layers. And I'm forgetting a layer, aren't I? A little bit more butter. You're quite right. Well, you know what? I'm going to finish cutting these potatoes. And then, which you really don't need the onion glasses for, but hey, they look kind of cool, don't they? Okay. I'll use this little knife because we're getting down. And we just sort of plop some more butter, random, over the onions. Willy-nilly, as they say. Plop. We're going to use most of this up now. Just going to save a little bit left because now we have another layer of potato. So on goes the potato, 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 whatever you prefer. Okay. And ooh, there we go. And there and there. Now, finish with some onion. This is where the glasses come in handy. Probably the real ones too, because then I can see, in fact, really what I'm cutting. Straight down. Oh, get those fingers out of the way. Sprinkle the onions all over the inside. They come apart in big circles, so that's okay. Okay, you can see how we built this little mountain. All right, so we have our mountain built. Some got away. Doesn't want to be eaten, so get back in there, you. Okay. A little bit of butter on top. There we go. And milk. So I'm going to grab some from the fridge. It's about 2 cups, which is what this is, but we need that for our sauce. So we just pour it into our pan. All right, just pour it in, pour it in, pour it in. That's probably all you need, just so that you have a coating, because you don't want it soupy, and you don't want to have to try and thicken it later. So there's our dish, our beautiful onion dish, all ready to roll. Salt and pepper. Let's put a little bit of salt and pepper in there. You can season this however you wish. Some people might put some garlic in there. Oh, you know what might be nice? We have to go to our little cupboard. You know what would be nice? Take these glasses off first because the onions are done. What we need is a little bit of Italian seasoning. Where did that go? There it is. Found it. We're going to have to reorganize. Okay, so just sprinkle a little bit of Italian seasoning. This has a whole plethora of stuff in it. Oregano and thyme and basil. And you can find that at your spice rack in the store quite easily in a pouch. Nothing crazy there. Okay, cover and put this onto the stovetop. And we're going to put our burner, I always cook midway. We're on gas here, so I cook about midway until it gets rolling. So we're just going to leave that to do its thing. And we're going to work on a fantastic sauce for this fish. Fish is in the oven. We're going to give it, good remembering, we're going to put the timer on. We're going to give it 30 minutes. There we go. At 350. The onions are on midway. We're going to probably be cooking them almost as long, 30 minutes. The potatoes have to be soft. You can't have crunchy. It's not potato chip onion dish. It's potatoes and onion scalloped. So let's get on with the sauce. So in a pan, this is where it takes a little bit of critical timing. So first, we're going to get some magic scissors. Our magic scissors. Because we want to take these chives and have them ready for... No, I'm not going to attempt to use... Oh, you know what's going to happen? Half of this is going all over the counter. There we go. Just cut them into little pieces. See, little tiny pieces. Some will get away. So don't cut too viciously. Cut slowly. And if anybody has an idea on how to cut this better without, using the big knife, I'm all ears and eyes for that. Because, hey, we're in this journey together, We're trying to have a bit of fun. So we just cut this up without hacking your fingers off. No one wants the surprise in their sauce. Cut up all the little bits, and if you can't get them all, that's fine. But the point is, we just want a little tiny dish of chives. And then we're done with the magic scissors. These things are great, by the way, dollar store. They cut everything around this house, I swear. Now, we're going to take our pot, and the whole point of this is we're going to warm the butter and put the flour in the butter. This is a great way to make a gravy without having to use mountains of flour. Oh, and we're going to need our handy dandy whisk. So first, we're going to come on over here to the stovetop, putting it on about 50%, putting the butter in the dish, in the pan. We're going to let it melt. And when it's melting, it's a timed thing. So we're going to let the butter melt. We're going to put the flour in slowly, so it makes a bit of a thickish kind of butter paste, but not rock hard. And then we're going to do a bit of science, and we're going to put a bit of magic milk in there. It's not magic milk, it comes from a normal cow. But anyway, we're going to put milk in there, and something magic's going to happen. It's going to get, well, I'm not going to tell you. You're going to see in a second. Okay? All right. So let's get our butter melting. Our butter's starting to melt, so that's good. We've got our cam going, we've got our potatoes going, and just let this melt. Don't burn the butter, please. It stinks and it tastes awful. So just about mid-heat, we'll get our flour ready. So we have our measurement. It's a 1/3 cup flour. 1/3 cup flour. that's going to go into the butter. Pretty easy. The chives are going to give us a bit of an extra kick, I think, I hope. And we've got a bit of garlic to go in there. Oh, I know what we're going to do while we're waiting for that butter. Staring at the garlic here, it's a little hard at times to mix. Oh, we're going to turn this down. It's a little hard sometimes to mix garlic into the thing. So we're going to do garlic. It's arbitrary amount. We like garlic, so you're going to see there's a bunch of shakes here. I'm probably putting about a good tablespoon of garlic powder. And we're just going to mix it in with the flour with our whisk. Okay? Nothing fancy, but you want it all mixed in. That way you're not going to have lumps of garlic floating around in your butter. We've made just garlic flour. That's essentially what we've done here. Little tricks, eh? Little tricks. Okay. And by the sounds of it, we're almost ready over here to whisk in the butter and the flour and the garlic. So, just going to let this little iceberg here disappear. Give it some help. Okay. And you'll see, I add a little bit at a time. Just a bit, because it's going to mix. And this is the neat part. If you were to do this with a hot liquid, this would turn into a glue, as gravy does. But this turns into a nice, creamy, smooth base. Add a bit more. And it really doesn't get hard like a gravy would. If you add too much flour to a hot liquid, whoa, boy, you're in trouble. You got one massive, blob on dough. You could probably assault someone with it. Attack food. So we just stir this around. We're going to add the rest of it. Stir it around. You see how it's getting thicker? It is like a paste, but it's not quite anything that's going to burn. You got to keep it moving a little bit in the pan here. That's pretty critical. And it's going to cook out. Okay, I'm just going to turn the heat down just gently. You let this flour and garlic and butter sort of cook in the pan, because what they're going to do next is we're going to add this milk. Now this milk, special, room temperature. Why? Because you don't want the cold liquid going in. It takes too long to become thick. So we have this cup here, which I think it's a little cool. So you know what you can get away with? And I'm not going to show you here. Obviously, we're putting it in a microwave. Let's see what that does for the wireless mic. And I'm just going to put it in for 40 seconds. And that is going to warm it up a little. We're going to stir back here to our butter. Starting to smell the garlic a little bit, so that's good. You just let this cook out just about a minute or so. Nothing long. You don't want to. It will burn. It will fry the flour if you wait too long. So we don't want to do that. We got 2 cups of milk about to go in. Then we'll add some salt and pepper after. So that's good. That's warmed up enough. Let's get it in the pan. Now, this is where the science happens. So you see how this is still a nice little fried liquid paste. This is where the kookiness takes place now. You're going to add this milk, and I'm going to stir it around and watch how incredibly thick this has become. See, it's turned into a dough ball. So we just add it little pieces at a time. If you add too much all at once, you'll really mess it up. It'll be too thick, and balls will form. So that's enough there. And I'm making a good mess, aren't I? Look at that. Look at the nice mess. Oh yes, wife's gonna love me. See, it's making a bread in the pan, so we gotta keep it going. You don't want to fry it up again. But what you're doing with this nice little paste is you just keep stirring that in, stirring it in. Oh, it's getting thicker. You just keep stirring until you got a nice thick paste, and then you add more. Okay, we're gonna let that sit to come up to temperature. We have the potatoes on. Oh, the pièce de résistance, the chives. Dun, dun, dun. The chives. As I hold it up like it's a Olympian dish. Oh, do, 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 do. I hope that's centered. I hope I'm not off-centered. Am I off-centered? How's this? How's this? Is this centered? I don't know. There's the chives. So we're going to put the chives in because they need to start to really flavor up our little garlic sauce here. There we are. Oh, and while we're at it, a little bit of salt and pepper. The kitchen table twins, we call them. These are the kitchen table twins. I don't know about if you have a grinder, it's great. 20 or so grinds and maybe 10 of the peppers. Okay, that was 12. But anyway, who's counting? I'm not, am I? No. Were you? Haha. Okay. Now, sometimes if you think this is getting too thick, you can add a bit more milk if you need to. So we're going to turn that right off for now. Turn it right off the heat. Because you know what? No, I'm kidding. I know. It's the slow-mo. Okay. That is nice and thick. I'm going to put a lid on that. I got to find my lid. Where did I take the lid? We have a missing lid. Check the lid cupboard. There it is. There it is. Okay, so we're going to put that on. Just let it sit. So, notice a magical mystery thing has appeared on my counter. First gin martini of the season. It's 2/3 of the way through May right now. And so I figured it was time to salute. That's good. Okay, over here, we're going to check the fish. We're going to have a little look at it. Get our spatula and give it the squish test. It's still pretty squishy, so I'm thinking that's going to need another 15 minutes, I'll bet you. So that's fine. We've got the time. So we're going to put 15 on the clock and cook that. We're going to check our lovely potato sauce stuff. It's looking pretty good. Bubbling away real nicely. So that's all fine. We're just going to leave that. We're going to actually test it out with a knife. Make more mess on the stovetop here. And so those potatoes are getting nice and soft. So they're about ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to take them off the heat too. Turn the heat right off. And we're going to wait 15 more minutes for the fish and check back in. But before we get back to the fish, I want to talk about Fish Friday. Fish Friday has an interesting origin. Why do we have fish? Why do a lot of people have fish on Fridays? Well, in the Christian teachings, Jesus died on a Friday, and therefore they were to go into a period of fasting. Well, that meant that you couldn't, or that didn't mean that you would eat absolutely nothing. It simply meant that you could not eat the meat of warm-blooded animals. Jesus being warm-blooded, paying respects and tributes to his death, you don't eat warm-blooded animals' meat on a Friday. A fish is cold-blooded, lives in the water, cold-blooded, so it was totally acceptable to eat fish. Now, I asked my wife about that. Why did you, what was the reasoning behind it? What were the teachings behind it? She said, we don't know. We just always had fish on Fridays. So there you go. Fish on Fridays. Take what you will, but to everything, there is always a story. So we have the potatoes off. We have the sauce starting to warm up. In fact, I'm just going to give it a quick stir. We don't want it to get too thick again. We want it to be warm on the fish. We turn it off and cover it. The fish is done. We need to get some hot things. La, la, la. Move the martini out of the way so it doesn't get too hot. Because we're going to come over here now. We have our potatoes done and ready. Nice, beautiful potatoes. In fact, let's get our beautiful close-up cam and take a lovely picture of our potatoes. And we'll get some nice, ooh, ah, B-roll. Some ooh, ah, look at those potatoes. Zoom right into the pan. Now that, if that doesn't make your television smell good, I don't know what will. And that's our potatoes. Now we get ready for our fish. So we're gonna try to bring this over here. We're gonna have our fish. We're gonna need one more, aren't we? Yeah, we're gonna need one more for our sauce. Okay. Now, we're gonna bring our fish out of the oven because it's totally ready, sizzling away. Oh, it's heavy too. It was a big fish, I guess. Look at this. Mm-hmm. Now that is a sizzling. Here we go. Can you hear that sizzle? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And now we're going to get our obligatory close-ups of the fish. Dun, 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 dun. Insert nice music here. La, 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 la. Ooh, shadows. Try again. Take two. Dun, 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 dun. Gotta find some nice cheesy music for this. Oh, that's a beautiful piece of fish, isn't it? Nice big salmon. Everything caked on there. The butter made it all nice and cakey. All right. So that's our fish. Now we're going to get a lovely little plate. We're going to plate it over here. And we're going to probably get our glove because that dish is going to be some hot. And we're going to make a nice serving here. Oh, yes. So the nice part about this too, I'll get out of the way, is that the skin stays stuck. And so you can try and get this out of the pan without the skin being stuck to it. For those that don't like, the fish skin. We'll flip that over and flip that into the, there we go. And then we're going to use a different spatula. We're going to serve up some nice of these potatoes, onion. That's thickened really nicely now. And we're going to get that on there. I'm hoping you can see this plate, but I got a funny feeling. There we go. There's our plate. We'll get some nice potato onion on there. This will be my wife's plate. Ladies first. Women and children first, as they say. Okay. And we didn't do a veg today, but you could always add a side veg on that if you wanted to. Or a side salad. We'll just get a little bit of this sauce and we'll pour it over the fish. Real nice like. Oh, look at that, huh? Now that is a bit of artwork, that. A delicious piece of food. And so, you know what? I might do a vegetable next to it. I'm not entirely sure. But there's our dish. Now, let's go for the obligatory close-up. Here we go. How much closer can we get? Oh, perfect. There's our, now you get to see how that part's done in the show. And that is our dish. They say side salad, vegetable, whatever you need to put on the side, you can put whatever you wish on the side. I hope you've had fun and I hope this turns out well for you. Let me know. Please subscribe. And I want feedback. Tell me, how did this work for you? What did you do different? Did you do something a little different that maybe we can try next time? You can let us know. That's it. That's a wrap. Thanks for watching FanCookingTastic, and I'll see you next time. For more FanCookingTastic episodes, click these links that seem to be filling up my kitchen. And please like, comment, and subscribe.